All right, let's try this. Hello, everyone. We are live now on Steel Highway. This is the inaugural Steel Highway News Digest. It is Monday, September 18th of 2023. And thank you to everyone for tuning in today. So this is going to be kind of a quick hit format. I'm hoping to keep this to maybe 15 minutes or less. We'll just kind of see how it goes. But to start out with, we are going to talk about an update on Steel Highway YouTube channel. First off, the Steel Highway YouTube channel has in fact, oh, hang on a second. Get the right thing. There we go. We've hit 15,000 subscribers, 15,100 subscribers as a matter of fact. So thank you everyone for helping to support Steel Highway in that regard. Please keep telling people about Steel Highway. Hello, Cutthroat Drummer. Good to see you today. But yeah, right here, 15,100 subscribers. So that's pretty exciting. The Calmer webcam is offline, and I'm working with the host there, the city of Calmer, to try to get that back up and going. But that is the only note that I have on webcams today. That's why we're running one short right now. And interestingly enough, Dubuque ATCS is back online as well after being offline for quite a while. So monitoring Wood, Dubuque Junction, and Portage on the Illinois side when it comes in, kind of sporadically. So those are the couple of things I wanted to talk about there. Let's jump right over to the news, because there was a carman on the CSX that was actually killed this morning. Fred Anderson is the name that they released. Walbridge Yard near Toledo, Ohio. And what's interesting about this is that apparently it involved a remote control locomotive. And the reason that this is significant is because they're reporting that this is the third carman that has died on the CSX within the last, what kind of time frame are they giving this? The last year? And they're saying, so this is the third carman that has died in a remote control locomotive yard, or remote, as a result of the use of remote control locomotives. And this is something that the CSX is almost certainly going to, it's something that they're almost certainly going to get some federal oversight or some federal attention from the FRA in this regard. You can see the statements from the unions here where they're saying, you know, enough is enough, which, so it's talking about in June, a CSX conductor died falling from a moving rail car, and in Cumberland, Maryland in August, pinned between a freight car and a locomotive during a shove move. So let's just mention a couple of things here. It doesn't take a remote control locomotive to kill somebody on a shoving move or to injure somebody on a shoving move. That's something that if the conductor isn't paying attention or misjudges what he's doing, it's something that can happen in any situation. So the fact that they're trying to point out that, well, this involved a remote control locomotive, sure, it did, but is that the proximate cause of what happened? Or is it just something that it happened to be there at the same time? Northwestern station camera that points towards CTA. So, Vern Rosenthal, thank you for the question. We are in the process of trying to replace the Ethernet cable. We believe that the issue is with the Ethernet cable running from that camera down into the building. And so that's probably going to have to be the case, is that Ethernet cable is going to have to be replaced. When I go to look for another news story here, the next one I wanted to talk about was the JB Hunt BNSF story, which I found interesting because JB Hunt is actually acquiring BNSF Logistics, which it says it's providing third-party logistics for trucking, but the reality is it's owned by BNSF, or it was. So JB Hunt, I mean, nobody's confused about the fact that JB Hunt is, in fact, deeply involved in BNSF. You see their containers going by all the BNSF cameras that we have here on Steel Highway. If you're ever trackside and you see a BNSF container train go by, it's always got JB Hunt traffic on it. So let's not be confused about the fact that JB Hunt and BNSF are deeply in bed with each other to begin with. Apparently, BNSF is selling BNSF Logistics to JB Hunt. So if there was ever any confusion about who JB Hunt wants to do business with, it is apparently BNSF. And it even goes on to say down here, this continues more than 30 years of partnership between BNSF and JB Hunt and builds on our March 2022 announcement to further integrate our services. Now, I don't think that federal regulators are going to see this as any sort of a conflict of interest, but with BNSF losing traffic from Schneider to Union Pacific and CPKC, this seems to me like that it is very much a defensive move to make sure that JB Hunt continues to protect, or BNSF continues to protect their traffic with JB Hunt. So that's kind of my guess as to what's going on. Bailey Yard. The UP apparently blew up a container, or a container blew up in the UP's Bailey Yard. This was from Friday, I think, or maybe even Thursday. But apparently there was a partial evacuation in North Platte. West end of UP's Bailey Yard caused the evacuation of nearby residents. Yes. 1 mile radius been evacuated between US 30 and US Highway 30 between North Platte and Hershey was shut down. And you can see here, somebody's got a image off of X, which is showing the explosion and the plume of smoke coming out of it. So that's something that, yeah. What did they say it was involved? Chemical perchloric acid, a strong mineral used as an oxidizer and known to be an explosion hazard. Of course it is, because it's an oxidizer. So I guess no real confusion there. But I haven't heard anything else about this over the weekend, so I'm guessing that they got it contained and the evacuees are back in their homes. But this was kind of a big deal. Now, the last thing that I wanted to touch on from a news perspective was this one kind of slid under the radar, but chemical shippers complain that railroads aim to shift liability to manufacturers. Now, that I'm not going to get into it that way, but what I can tell you is that first off, this is a direct result of East Palestine, where the NS literally almost blew up a whole town when they derailed in East Palestine. And of course the fallout from all the chemicals that have been released and the environmental problems and the people that were evacuated down miles and miles of evacuation radius that was done, that this is a direct result. And what I can tell you without a doubt is that the railroads now, despite all the liability insurance that they have to carry to clean up derailments exactly like this one, that they're now trying to pawn that responsibility. Not just the cost of the liability insurance, but the actual liability to the manufacturers of the chemicals. And I don't think that this is going to go anywhere. If you spend any time reading about contract law strict liability versus limited liability, some of the things that really go into making the determination between who's at fault when any sort of an incident occurs that involves one or more businesses. What you're going to realize is that the UP can, in fact, pawn off higher insurance rates. They can say, well, we have to have more insurance to carry your chemicals across our railroad. And they can pass that cost on to the shippers in the form of higher rates. However, in terms of actually shifting the liability, I doubt that's gonna fly, especially when you consider the common carrier responsibilities that the railroads have to shippers and to each other in terms of moving traffic across the country. So it's an interesting idea that one of the railroads has come up with, and it's almost certainly a direct result of what happened at East Palestine. I just don't see it really having any long-term legs. I think that this is going to find its way into court at some point and just be all struck down or reversed, even if the railroads try to do this. So, because ultimately, when you talk about the liability of a train being derailed and causing injury, regardless of what's on that train, the railroad as the operator and their crews are who's going to come under the microscope. And was there appropriate training, and were safety protocols followed, and was the track maintained appropriately, and all these things are going to come out that even in the worst case, they're all still going to point back to the railroad in terms of liability. So, any more cameras showing CTA trains? I don't have any plans for any right now, but you know, if I found the right location, I certainly would not be opposed to it. That CTA camera, we can get it going. It's very, very popular. So, just a couple of other notes for those of you that are in Eastern Iowa with me. Cedar Rapids area Railfans is tonight, and we're going to have a Zoom presenter, Rob Leachman. He is the president of the UP Historical Society, and he's going to give us a program about the CNW in the 60s and 70s in Iowa. Upcoming notes for myself: I am going to be in Dubuque on Thursday. I'm planning doing some upgrades to the equipment there, and then a week from Thursday I'm planning on being in Fort Madison for the day. So, final thing, thank you to all of our members. We'll go over here to the membership tab. Thank you everyone for becoming a member of the channel and helping to support the Steel Highway YouTube channel. You know, we have members that are American, we have 10-wheeler, Mikado, and we have Big Boy members. So thank you everyone for supporting Steel Highway in that way. And just bumping over to the company store, we do have Steel Highway issue number 0008, which has shipped out. It is being delivered to everyone who has placed an order. And additionally, I'm going to get caught up on all the individual orders that floated in after the shipping was set and get those mailed out hopefully today. So thank you for the supporters, thank you for the subscribers, and I'm hoping to see everyone back. I don't know how often I'm going to do this exactly. There's not always going to be an opportunity for me to do this kind of program, and there's just not always a lot of news to go over. But I'll do it as often as I can, and we'll try to make it interesting and relevant whenever possible. And then finally, Sioux Line 1003 photo charter tickets. If anyone's interested, we're going to have some updates coming on that soon. And I certainly hope that everyone considers doing that. That's going to be in November up in Hartford, Wisconsin. So everyone have a fantastic rest of your day.